Hi everyone on the internet, how are you? I'm Barry Robertson. Welcome to our live play reading here at Ardrossan. A lot of the group are with me today, and we have never done this before, but basically we're just going to spend the next 5 to 10 minutes very quickly before we start reading Betsy Dunlop, The Witch of Dalry, for you to ask questions or for the group to ask questions and create an online piece of work where we can keep this and hopefully we can look back in the future. So I'm going to move this. I'm going to be your cameraman today. I'm going to introduce you to the group. So say hello, everyone.
Hi.
Oh,
Hi,
that's us. John.
Pauline.
Anne. Roddy. Jack. Betty. Annie. And Marie. So guys, I'm just going to point this around. And there's our lovely Lara. Hi, Lara.
Hello.
So if anyone has a question about the play or tell us where we're at in the play so far, I'll be your cameraman. So Jack, start us off with a good question.
Oh gosh.
Put you on the spot. I know, Jack.
No pressure.
Anyone else?
No.
Start us off. So why about, if anyone hasn't seen or read the play before, John, what is the play about?
Basically, it's about persecution, people being scapegoated, women especially, for many of the evils of a society. It's also a great deal of play about hatred or scapegoating of women in particular, in a bygone age, but still very relevant to the world that we live in, I would think.
And this is based on a true story?
Yes, indeed. The Rye woman, whose name was Bessie Dunlop, a local kind of witch wife, but really a healer. And she was basically simply made an example of by the authorities because she was dragged all the way from the Rye via questioning by the Archbishop of Glasgow and finally to the High Court of Justiciary in Edinburgh in 1576. And what has survived is what she confessed to. The court record itemises all her confessions, which are a product of intensive interrogation, probably torture, sleep deprivation, and so on. But it's so detailed that it's sometimes hard to distinguish what could have happened and what was pure fabrication and invention. And all we know was that, as a wee note in the record of on the margin of the record, simply says convict and burnt.
And that's all it says.
That was the fate of most women. Most witches were women. 90% roughly. I haven't done a calculation, but that figure's often quoted, and that applies right across Europe. Scotland was not isolated from this. It was going on right across Europe, sweeping Europe. It was a kind of paranoia, kind of insanity, a bit like a kind of vicious racism today, seeking somebody to say our society is under threat, and these are the people that are doing it.
Yeah,
society believes the devil's a real person. He's everywhere. Evil is everywhere around us. But we find the same things we done in Nazi Germany and Stalinist Russia and other totalitarian states in the 20th century.
So has anyone else got a question to move us on a little bit further in the group today? What about yourself? You were here as a new person last week.
Yes.
What did you experience by coming along to the group, and what's made you come back again this week?
Oh, we're a very friendly group. So I was welcomed, and I actually love the language that's in the language that you use, John, in the book. It's easy to trip off the tongue, really.
Yeah, it's in Scots language, and you don't get a lot of that nowadays.
No. Although I've noticed in my grandchildren in primary schools, they're being encouraged more to speak in their, with a good Scots accent rather than anglicising everything they say. which is quite interesting. Yes.
And if anyone was new and wanted to come along, would you recommend it?
Oh, absolutely. It's very friendly, non-judgmental. We can all make mistakes, and it's and nobody's going, oh, you tripped up there at all. So it was very nice.
Zach, you had a question for us.
I just had a question for you, John.
Yeah.
Are there any actors today that you really like, or you think that are really relevant, or is there anyone's work that you really appreciate?
Are we talking about dramatists or
dramatists or any whatever direction you want to take it?
There's a Scottish writer that I particularly admire called James Robertson, who again has written about historical events like slavery, but he's also written contemporary big novels about where Scotland has gone since the Second World War through to the millennium. So he's one I admire very much.
Has he gone past the millennium? Has he gone into referendum?
Yes, yeah, it ends I think around the referendum.
Okay.
Perfect. Last question. You got a question?
Sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
I belong to the book group here.
Yeah.
And I came along again 2 weeks ago. And the faces I see around here are not the people that I've seen at book groups before, and that's why I'm a wee bit puzzled. I mean,
but you can be puzzled.
And of course, I was handed the book when I came. I was a bit like that night. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. And came back again last week, and I'm here again. But as the lady there says, I just enjoy being back speaking the Scottish language, because I've been living in south of England for a long time and just come back to live here, and I've just really and it's fascinating because we've moved on to different section last week.
Yeah, we're on to Act 2, aren't we? And I think that what's nice about when you speak it out loud is that your tongue gets twisted a bit, doesn't it? Trying to get used to the Scots language again, and you're going, like, how many times have I spoken? You've had to correct me, and I'm like, is that what that says?
A friend of mine called Ian Brown, who's in fact a theatre director, also a college lecturer in drama. He has directed a very famous early Scottish play called The Satire of the Three States, which is a very political drama set. It was written for James IV. Scotland in the court, showing up the corruption. He said that when you get actors together to read it, they really struggled with the language until they began to speak it and act it out and kind of modernise it a bit. And it really came to life then over the page. But reading, because basically none of us have been educated to read in Scots. We don't know the conventions.
Oh, I don't know. There was We're Willie and the Bruins.
Well,
yeah.
And finally, I'm going to end with yourself, Marie. You came along in the very first night.
I wasn't here last week, so I've missed a wee bit in between, and I'm looking forward to picking up where we left off the first week. But what I enjoyed the first week was John's fantastic background to the play, all the historical content, all the sort of politics that went on, and things I didn't really think about to do with witchcraft before, with the burning of witches. And I mean, I kind of did think that there was this element of rounding women up for your own ends and your own purposes, and neighbour against neighbour and settling old scores, but I didn't really think about the political context. So that interested me. Sorry, and what I was actually saying to Annie when we came in, we were talking about it, and how the sort of pre-Reformation goes on, and then the post-Reformation goes on to do with witchcraft. I was quite interested to hear your the background that you gave about that, how there was no one side really that was kind of any better, if you like, to women. They were, and how the spikes that actually came when you would have maybe thought that they wouldn't have happened. We did.
Misogyny plays a huge part of it. but it's very political as well, because male authorities were using their religious or political power to identify some source of evil and often link it to groups that they wanted to remove or saw as a threat to them. So that Catholic countries blamed reformers as being in league with the devil, but then post-Reformation Protestant authorities target Catholic groups as still being, this was papism was in league with the devil kind of thing, and it was a threat to the reform, the true religion, you know. So it's very, very ironic that happened.
Well, we're going to end there for tonight. Thank you very much for watching. We're going to continue tonight on Act 2. If you want to come along, same time, same place next week. And please do come along. It's an open event. Anyone can drop in, meet us. And it's really about adults in the local community, what we as adults want to do, how we take this forward, whether it's a play reading, whether it's a putting on a drama class, whether it's any other type of cultural experience. So from me and from everyone else, thanks very much for watching, and I'll say goodbye. Say goodbye. Bye. And we're done.
Thank you.